Beloved, I know the ache that sits behind your eyes at midnight. I know the buzz of the phone, the calendar's demands, the unblinking red light that says, go live again. Produce, post, perform, today and tomorrow and the day after. The feed must be fed. The market must be pleased. The inbox wants its pound of flesh. And so the soul, made for pasture land, is driven like a mule around the track. You call it strategy. Your body calls it exhaustion. You call it the grind. Your heart calls it exile. Hear me with a most positive yes and without any mental hesitation or reservation. You are not failing because you are tired. You are tired because you are trying to do the work of spirit with the personal mind. The mind is not a factory. The mind is an instrument. It was never ordained to manufacture life. It was ordained to receive it. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Not be frantic and prove that you are a God. Not be clever and earn your right to exist. Be still and know. There is a knowing that arrives when stillness is given a chair, a cup of water, a room with a closed door. Let us say it in the language of Christ. I and the Father are one. John 10:30. Oneness does not shout. Oneness does not hustle. Oneness reveals. Oneness flows. When we wear the costume of separation, we begin to think that our little mind must cook up brilliance and push it to market. We whip the intellect as if it were a beast of burden, and then we are surprised at the sound of its collapse. But Spirit whispers, before Abraham was, I am. John 8:58. God works in the infinite nowness. The idea you chase across a tomorrowed field is already here in the pasture of now, quietly grazing, if only you would stop the chase and watch. Do not accuse yourself. Do not add guilt to fatigue. I am not making the stars come out, nor the moon to rise, nor the sun to set. I am perfectly content to let God run the universe. And you may be perfectly content to let God run your studio, your book, your canvas, your code. You need not make an ocean of inspiration. You need only open the gate for its tide. Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Zechariah 4:6. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory, not mine to manufacture, mine to bear witness. What then changes when we stop trying to create and begin to listen? Everything that matters. The clamor of deadlines loses its deity. Time becomes a tool, not a tyrant. The mind ceases its vanity project and accepts its true vocation as listener, as tuner, as receiver. The right idea, already whole in the invisible, begins to clothe itself in forms you can carry, sentences you can write, colors you can mix, code you can ship. You do not add truth to life. You let life add itself to your truth. And so I invite you not to try harder, but to try holier, not to rev the engine, but to park the car. You do not need more effort. You need a holy interval in which effort stops. We will take this up as a practice, a reproducible session of receptivity, withdrawal, surrender, listening so simple a child can learn it, so profound an elder can lean on it. You will close the door without guilt. You will lay down the scepter of personal will and say, Father, into thy hands. You will listen, not for the mountain, but for the next faithful step. And the pressure will not be your God, for the presence will be your guide. For now, let this be your first relief. You are not a factory. You are a flute. The breath is God's. The music is God's. The willingness to be hollow is yours. Be still and know thine is the kingdom. God is. Yes, beloved. Now that we have laid down the weariness of pretending to be the source, let us look straight at the simple, shining center. God works in the infinite nowness, not in future hours, not in tomorrow's better mood, not in the next clever article or the next cup of coffee. God works now. The life of your work is not hiding in a more favorable weather report. It is already present, awaiting your presence. Before Abraham was, I am. John 8:58. Hear this, not as a biography of a man 2 millennia ago, but as the eternal word of being itself, before calendars, before contracts, before launch dates and trending charts. I am. Being precedes schedule. Spirit is prior to circumstance. The light that illumines every true sentence, every quiet brushstroke, every just design, is not running down the hallway to meet you at the 11th hour. It is here. Now see the contrast plainly, and gently choose. The creator who works from time must borrow from anxiety, must measure by scarcity, must compare with the sideways glance, and so the stream becomes a trickle, and the trickle becomes a drought. Working from time, you wait for permission, a market signal, a nod from the imagined crowd, an inner forecast that says, maybe I will feel inspired tomorrow. And tomorrow is a God that never gives benediction. But the creator who rests in now leans into sufficiency. Take therefore no thought for the morrow. Matthew 6:34. Not negligence, but trust. Not indifference, but inward deference to the presence that already is. In the now, there is no deficit. There is only the sound of the shepherd calling your name from within your own being. Quiet certainty takes the place of bargaining. The next word arrives not as a conquest, but as a gift recognized. Do not mistake this for erasing your individuality. We are not lost in a fog of abstraction. It is a most positive yes that your individual entity is maintained forever and forever, and it is God expressed. I and the Father are one. John 10:30 does not cancel your timber. It consecrates it. Think of the vine and its branches. I am the vine, ye are the branches. John 15:5. Each leaf is distinct. Each cluster carries its own sweetness. Yet the life is one sap. Distinct expression, not separate source. Your palette, your cadence, your way with silence, or color, or code, these are the forms your one life takes. They are not the battery that powers it. When the mind consents to this, when it stops posing as generator and takes its rightful seat as instrument, the strain falls away. Not that work becomes lazy, no, but that work becomes holy. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. The kingdom is not postponed. The power is not rationed. The glory is not on back order. The idea you seek is not ahead of you in time. It is present when you are present. You turn from the countdown clock to the countenance. You stop asking the hour to bless you, and you let the hourless one speak. Not in earthquake or fire or wind of precious speech, but in the still small voice that does not argue. And so it follows that if the source is now, our method cannot be strain. It must be receptivity. We will not whip the river. We will lower the cup. We will not bargain with fear. We will abide in presence. In practice, this will look like simple fidelity to being here, a closing of the door to the tyranny of later, a yielding of personal will, a listening for the single true step that is given, always given, in the eternal instant where God is God. God works in the infinite nowness. I am before the deadline, within the deadline, beyond the deadline. Yes, beloved, let us say the correction plainly and put the burden down. The trouble is not that you lack brilliance. The trouble is that we try to use the human mind to create when mind was designed to receive and to transmit. It is an instrument of awareness, a tuning fork, not the orchestra. When we conscript it to be composer and conductor and percussion section, it rattles with strain and calls it thinking. But when it takes its rightful seat as listener, as a tuner to the inner pitch, inspiration ceases to be a rare guest and becomes a natural resident. It is the spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profiteth nothing. John 6-63. Not the straining flesh mind, but the inward spirit quickening. What, then, is a divine idea for those of us who write and paint and code and speak? Not always a thunderbolt, not the earthquake spectacle Elijah first looked for, but the still small word that does not shout. A divine idea is a quiet impulse, a clean line felt before it is drawn, a sentence that lands with rightness before it appears on the page, a step that bears peace before it bears applause. It is often the next faithful inch, not the whole mountain. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. There is a tone to it, a settledness, a consent, a yes without argument. You feel the bell ring in the ribs. The mind need not invent this. It need only not interfere. Answered prayer is not the universe rearranging its furniture to suit us. Answered prayer is a divine impulse, felt or sensed within, the evidence of alignment, the awareness that the river has rounded the bend and is moving you gladly without your whip. Here we unmask a subtle idolatry that has crept into our studios and offices under the guise of wisdom. Metrics and algorithms stand in the corner, promising provision. Trust me with your reach. Bow to my cadence, and I will give you numbers. And then, having been granted the seat of power, they demand worship, constant output, constant worry, constant glances to the right and to the left for validation. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, Exodus 20-3. The infinite way recognizes God as the only power. Algorithms are tools. They are not authorities. Markets are weather. They are not law. They are appearances, measurements of a moment, but not the measure of being. If you grant them power, you also grant yourself slavery. If you restore God to God's place, you restore your mind to instrument, your craft to service, your days to sanity. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. And so, to receive, we must reduce the noise that masquerades as thought, but is only pressure, not by multiplying inputs, but by purifying attention. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Isaiah 30-15. Quietness, because the internal weather reports are not the weather of spirit. Confidence, because the one who speaks within is trustworthy. You do not need to argue down the pressure speech. You need only decline its jurisdiction. We will shortly speak of the simple practices of closing the door, laying down the scepter of personal will, and listening for the next true step. Even now, begin with a small fidelity. Turn your face from the glowing counters and the imaginary crowd. Turn your ear to the inner room where before Abraham was, I am. John 8:58. In that room, ideas are not hunted. They are recognized. They are not coerced into shape. They are invited to use your hands. Remember, I am not making the stars come out, nor the moon to rise, nor the sun to set. I am perfectly content to let God run the universe. Then am I not safe to let God run my creative hour? When the mind surrenders its costume of creator and becomes what it is, a listener, a lamp, a lens, then the light does what light does. It arrives. It illumines. It reveals the next word and the true color and the true cut. And it does so naturally, not as a miracle, but as the way things are in the infinite now. I and the Father are one, John 10:30. From that oneness, inspiration is not scarce. It is as present as air. Breathe, hear, move when moved. God works in the infinite nowness. Yes, beloved, there are two voices in the studio, and they do not sound alike. One is the voice of pressure, loud, urgent, comparative. It says, hurry, or you will be forgotten. Produce, or you will be punished. Look to the right and to the left, for others are ahead and you are behind. It bargains, it bribes, it threatens. It comes with a stopwatch in one hand and a mirror in the other. The other voice does not argue. It does not shout. It does not negotiate with fear. It is the still, small voice. 1 Kings 19:12. It carries the tone of home. It speaks in single steps and quiet assurances. It says, do this now, and with it comes the Sabbath warmth of there remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God, Hebrews 4-9. One voice rushes, one voice rests and reveals. Notice their fruit, and you will know them. By their fruits ye shall know them. Matthew 7:16. Pressure speech produces constriction in the chest, compulsive glances at the numbers, the itch to open one more tab, then 10 more, then 100, until the mind becomes a fragmented browser, window after window, whispering, safety is in more. Doom scrolling dresses itself as strategy, and we call panic research. We rewrite the sentence until it dies from overhandling. We polish the surface where no life stands underneath. We refresh the metrics to see if anxiety is turned into wisdom. Then we add coffee to fear and call it focus. I am not scolding you. I am confessing with you. I have opened the same analytics 5 times in 5 minutes. I have mistaken velocity for inspiration. But the practice is not perfection. The practice is returning. The voice of inner knowing is simpler. It never arrives as a stampede. It carries one clear consent. Not many ideas, but the right idea. Not strain, but surrender. Not forcing, but yielding. It does not explain itself to the fear voice, because it comes from another jurisdiction. It bears a sign you will learn to trust. Peace in the ribs before applause in the room. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. There is a bell-like recognition when it speaks. A most positive yes without mental hesitation or reservation. You do not need to wind yourself up to obey it. You need only lay yourself down. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Not be frantic and prove that you are a God. How then do we discern in the moment? We do not debate with pressure. We withdraw its credentials. We say within, I and the Father are one. John 10:30. We let the shoulders lower, the jaw unclench, the hands rest. We put the phone face down. We close the scattered tabs that promised omniscience but gave only noise. We look at the task and ask, what is the next true step? Not, how will I finish the whole mountain in a minute? And we wait without fear's stopwatch. Perfect love casteth out fear. 1 John 4:18. and with fear's casting out goes its false urgency. Do not be surprised when pressure returns. It is a tireless evangelist for the cult of hurry. It will tell you the world is ending if you do not post by noon. It will point to the wind and waves and invite you to sink. Answer it with a liturgy, not a quarrel. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. God works in the infinite nowness. Before Abraham was, I am John, 8:58. Then listen again. The right idea does not shout. It stands quietly present when you stop negotiating with fear. This is why our discernment must include a new relationship with time. As long as you stand in chronology's court, pressure will call witnesses and win its case. But when you step into now the court of the eternal time becomes a tool and not a tyrant. We will go there together to leave the deadline as deity and take our seat in presence before we put hand to key or brush to canvas. First the now, then the note. First the vine, then the branch. Yes, beloved, let us name the liturgy of our age so we may lay it down. I'm behind. I'm late. I missed the wave. I should have posted yesterday. I should have started last year. This is not merely worry. It is worship. Worship of time as power. Chronology as deity. We bow to clocks and call it responsibility. We chase calendars and call it diligence. Listen gently but clearly. The deadline is not your God. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Exodus 20:3. God works in the infinite nowness. Before the calendar was, I am John, 8:58. Time is a measure, not the life. A ruler can measure a table. It cannot make a tree grow. You have no time and I have no time in the deeper sense that our life does not begin at 8 and end at 5, does not start on Monday and expire on Friday. Life is, I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. Revelation 22:13. Not stretched across hours, but present as presence. The mind that worships time lives in continual after and before, missing the holy middle where ideas arrive effortlessly. The mind that abides in now receives, not by rushing, but by recognition, not by panic, but by presence. See how this touches your work. Hurry can make many things. Hurry cannot make them true. You can be prolific in fear and not inspired in spirit. You can fill a schedule and empty a soul. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Isaiah 30:15. Quietness is not laziness. It is fidelity to source. Confidence is not swagger. It is consent to the one who speaks within. The peace conceived in peace will carry peace into the world. The peace conceived in panic will ask the world to calm it. Which would you rather offer? Which do you want multiplying across land and sea and air? Do not misunderstand me. We are not abandoning our calendars. We are disarming them. We are not tearing down clocks. We are dethroning them. Keep your appointments. Honor your contracts. Send the file. Ship the code. But let the calendar be a servant, not a master. A tool, not a tyrant. Take therefore no thought for the morrow. Matthew 6:34. Does not mean negligence of tasks. It means refusal to grant tomorrow authority over your being. We meet obligations from peace, not from panic, from presence, not from pressure. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory, not the quarter hour and the metric and the trending page. How shall we live this paradox? We live in a world with bells and buzzers and notifications, yet we are citizens of a kingdom that has no clocks. We will use the bells to ring us into service, but we will let the bell of the heart determine what that service shall be. We will keep schedules as scaffolding, and we will let spirit build the house. We will plan. Yes, lists and blocks and deadlines, but we will not worship the plan, nor tremble before the block, nor kiss the ring of the deadline. We will step into now, then step into the task. First the vine, then the branch. First the inner consent, then the outward act. Here is a simple test you can practice today. When a deadline speaks with threat, answer with identity. I and the Father are one, John 10:30. When the clock shouts, let the soul whisper, God works in the infinite nowness. You need not finish the mountain in a minute. You need only receive the next true step. You are not late to now. No one has ever been late to now. And so we come to the doorway. To use time as tool and refuse it as tyrant, we must begin each work with a holy interval, a brief leaving of chronology for the sanctuary of presence. We will close the door without guilt. We will lay down the stopwatch and pick up the stillness. We will consent to be led, not driven. This is the pre-work withdrawal, the passage into the infinite now, where inspiration is native. There, the right idea does not arrive from tomorrow. It is recognized here, and it will meet the hour without your fear. Thine is the kingdom. God is. Yes, beloved. Now we practice. Enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret. Matthew 6:6. Hear it as instruction and as permission. Close the door without guilt before you put hand to key or brush to canvas. Step out of the stream of stimuli and into the sanctuary of now. This is not avoidance. It is consecration. It is spiritual hygiene. As you would wash your hands before breaking bread, so you wash your attention before breaking open the work. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Isaiah 30:15. Quietness first, strength follows. Make it simple and do it now. Set a small bell for 3 minutes. Yes, 3. Sit or stand if sitting becomes a project. But be still. Silence the notifications. Better yet, set the device in another room or turn it face down, out of sight, out of jurisdiction. Clear the desk until only the tool of faithfulness remains. 1 page, 1 app, 1 brush, 1 instrument. Close the extra tabs. They are not windows to wisdom, but doors to noise. We are not trying to control the world. We are refusing its false claims upon the next 3 minutes. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Not be frantic. Be still. Begin with 3 minutes before any creative act. After a few days, let it be 5. After a week, let it grow to 8 or 10. Do not force the length. Increase by fidelity, not by heroics. Later, seed the day with these little returns mid-morning, just after lunch, late afternoon, perhaps 3 times a day for a beginner. Later on, 8101220 times a day. Small pauses of presence that keep the instrument tuned. We are not escaping the work. We are establishing the source of it. Remember how the Master lived it. In the morning, rising up a great while before day, he went out and departed into a solitary place, and there prayed. Mark 1:35. Solitary is not loneliness. It is lucidity. Now to the shape of the interval. Let the shoulders lower. Let the jaw unclench. Rest the hands open on the lap or upon the desk as a sign to yourself that you are not gripping the universe. Close the eyes, if that helps. Soften the gaze, if it does not. Breathe as if you are not in a hurry, because in the infinite you are not. Whisper if you like, not to persuade God, but to persuade your fretful mind. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. I and the Father are one, John 10:30. Before Abraham was, I am, John 8:58. Say it once, say it twice. Let the words do what words can do. Turn you toward the word. Expect no fireworks, and miss not the miracle. The miracle is the cessation of strain. The miracle is that nothing is demanded of you for these 3 minutes, but willingness. You do not need more effort. You need a holy interval in which effort stops. Guilt will try to run an errand in whispering, you should be working. Answer gently, I am. I am consenting to the source. The Sabbath was made for man, Mark 2:27. This interval is Sabbath folded into minutes. It is the seedbed of right action. Keep boundaries kind and concrete. A chair that becomes your closet. A small card with 2 lines of scripture on your desk. A bell that is not a buzzer. A signal to the household or the team when the headphones are on. The door is closed. The closet is entered. Not forever, 3 minutes. Then 5, then 8 to 10. If your studio is a bus seat or a cafe corner, the closet is in your breath. If you cannot close the outer door, close the inner one to the crowd of comparisons. The crowd can wait. God is not in the crowd's noise. God is in the secret. And when the room is quiet and the devices are disarmed and the breath has remembered itself, we come to the subtler door, the one within the chest, the scepter of personal will that wants to make it happen. That, too, must be laid down. But for now, let the first obedience be withdrawal. 3 minutes to leave the world as God and return to God as world. 3 minutes to step out of time's command and into the infinite now. Thine is the kingdom. God is. Yes. Beloved, the door is closed. Now we lay down the scepter. This is the moment when creation stops being personal strain and becomes divine cooperation. Hear the prayer that is not pleading, but positioning. Not my will, but thine be done. Luke 22:42. Say it not as defeat, but as triumph. Triumph over the tyranny of the little self that has kept you sleepless and suspicious of grace. We are not surrendering excellence. We are surrendering authorship as anxiety. We are giving back to God what belongs to God. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. The kingdom is the realm of ideas. The power is the life of them. The glory is the light by which they are recognized. We are the avenue. We are the instrument. We are the lamp that consents to be lit. Name now, gently and exactly, what we release. We release the compulsion to force an outcome, to whip the canvas or the code until it becomes what our fear imagines. We release the itch to control reception, to engineer applause in advance, to train the algorithm with a trembling hand, to predict the metrics as if numbers were providence. We release the bargain that says, if I strain enough, the idea will come. We lay down the stopwatch we tried to strap to the spirit, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Zechariah 4-6. Might and power exhaust. Spirit expresses. Now, in this quiet room, let us take on the posture of surrender as a living act. Breathe once more as if the universe is not on your shoulders, because it is not. Whisper the confession that frees the ribs. I am not making the stars come out, nor the moon to rise, nor the sun to set. I am perfectly content to let God run the universe. Let that extend. I am content to let God run my studio, my draft, my brush, my trade. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. Proverbs 3-5. Lean not on the nervous calculus. Lean into the presence that is already here. Before Abraham was, I am. John 8:58. Ideas do not come from tomorrow. They appear from I am. Surrender is a most positive yes, yes, without mental hesitation or reservation to being an outlet, not an origin. Hear it ring like a bell in you. Yes, I consent to be used. Yes, I consent to be transparent. Yes, I consent that the idea may use my skill, and that my skill will never replace the idea. This is not passivity. This is readiness. It is oil in the lamp before the knock at midnight. It is the open gate before the flock approaches. It is the pen uncapped, the brush washed, the file open, not as a demand, but as a welcome. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. Psalm 55-22. The burden was authorship as anxiety. Sustainment is authorship as avenue. Let us speak to ambition so it may take its rightful seat. We do not crucify excellence on the altar of ease. We crucify fear on the cross of trust. In surrender, excellence becomes transparency to the idea. No longer do we decorate emptiness to win approval. We reveal fullness to serve awakening. The branch does not dim its fruitfulness by acknowledging the vine. Acknowledging the vine is how the fruit appears. I am the vine. Ye are the branches. Without me, ye can do nothing. John 15-5. With him, through him, in him, the work carries a life it did not borrow from caffeine or panic. Now, a simple rite to seal this surrender as practice. Say within, slowly, twice or thrice, Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit, Luke 23:46. Feel the hands unclench. Say, thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory. Feel the crown slide from the little self to the only self. Say, I and the Father are one, John 10:30. Feel the separation costume fall like an old cloak. Then be silent a few breaths more, not passive, but poised, not empty, but emptied of resistance. Here we do not ask for the whole mountain. We await the single step. In the infinite now, surrender ripens into instruction. We have withdrawn. We have laid down the scepter. Now we listen. God works in the infinite nowness. Yes, beloved, now we listen. Not for the mountain, but for the step. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Psalm 119-105. A lamp for the feet, not a floodlight for the horizon. The lamp gives enough for the next faithful placement of the foot. That is mercy. That is sanity. Give us this day our daily bread. Matthew 6:11. Daily bread, daily light, daily step. You are not here to receive everything, but to receive what is given now and to be faithful with it. God works in the infinite nowness. Before the timeline was, I am John 8:58. The blueprint belongs to omniscience. The step belongs to you. In this quiet, put a simple question before the heart and wait without bargaining. What is mine to do now? Not in an hour, not when I feel braver. Now, if words are your work, ask. What is the simplest truthful sentence? If craft or commerce is your work, ask, what is one clean action today? If relationship is your field, ask, who is mine to serve now and how? If your day is a thicket of maybes, ask, what must be omitted so the true may be done? Let these inquiries be crisp and kind, and then be still, not to extract an answer, but to recognize the one that is already here. How will you know it? By its fruit. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. The true step does not arrive in a stampede. It is not a shouting auctioneer. It bears a gentle authority. It is simple, near, often humble, often small. It sits within you with a quiet yes. There is a weight to it, not of heaviness, but of rightness, like a key settling into its lock. Peace goes before it into your ribs, even if nerves chatter around the edges. Not fireworks, but a hush. Not excitement, but assurance. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Isaiah 30:15. Confidence not as swagger, but as consent. Beware, then, the mind's theater. Do not force a feeling. Do not dramatize the reception. Do not imitate yesterday's dew or your neighbor's thunder. The spirit is not your performer. You are its instrument. If there are no goosebumps, do not go hunting for them. If there is only a plain next sentence, do not despise it. If the answer is, delete this paragraph, or email that one person, or take a walk and return at 2, do not demand a burning bush to confirm it. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10 means no, not stage a spectacle. Naturalness is your shield, simplicity your guide. When the next step is given, write it down simply on a card, a corner of the page, a line at the top of the canvas, one sentence, one action, one appointment with the work. Name it without embroidery, then rise and keep it. Obedience before explanation, faithfulness before flourish. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. Luke 16:10. In this way, the mountain is walked inch by inch, day by day, bread by bread. And see how mercy protects you from the tyranny of everything. Everything is not yours. The next is, thine is the kingdom, yours is the consent. If, as you move, the mind balks and demands the entire map, return for a breath to the closet within. Whisper once more, I and the Father are one. John 10:30. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Ask again, what is mine to do now? Receive again the same answer, or a clearer one, or silence that confirms you are already on it. Then move a little more. Give the step form one brushstroke, one stanza, one refactoring, one call. Do not outpace the lamp. Do not lag behind it. Let the rhythm of now set your cadence. And when the step is underway, the mind has its beautiful work to become a faithful instrument, translating the received idea into form, without adding fear, without subtracting life. Craft will be asked for, skill welcomed, technique honored, but as servant, not as master. We will speak of this next. For now, keep the compact. Receive, name, keep. Lamp for the feet, bread for the day, peace in the ribs. God is. Before Abraham was, I am. Yes. Beloved, Now we let the idea walk in shoes. Spirit gives the life, your craft gives the body. Do not reverse it. Thine is the kingdom, that is, the realm of ideas. Thine is the power, the energy that animates. Thine is the glory, the light by which we see. Our grammar and lenses and timelines and tools are beautiful servants, but terrible masters. They are bowls. They do not bake the bread. They are instruments. They do not compose the music. Except the Lord build the house. They labor in vain that build it. Psalm 127:1. We are not builders apart from the builder. We are the hands that translate, the branch that bears what the vine sends. I am the vine. Ye are the branches. Without me ye can do nothing. John 15:5. Let us speak plainly of appearance and reality in our craft. You have never seen a post. You have never seen a video. You have never seen a product. You have seen your concept of a spiritual idea clothed in pixels and frames and materials. The living substance is invisible, an idea breathed through you out of the infinite. What you can screenshot is garment. What you cannot see is life. The sentence is the wrapper. The insight is the fruit. The edit is the frame. The truth is the picture. The letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. 2 Corinthians 3-6. When we confuse the letter for the life, we press harder on the wrapper and wonder why the fruit bruises. This is why over-editing arrives like a fever. The mind, having wandered from the Spirit that gave the idea, tries to manufacture life by polish. It cannot. It sands and sands until the wood disappears. It adds adjectives to absence. It cuts and cuts until only cleverness survives. It widens the grin on a mannequin and prays for a heartbeat. Beloved, a shell can gleam and still be empty, not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Zechariah 4-6. Might and power can rearrange the furniture of form. Only Spirit lights the house. So here is our practice. When the work tastes like dust, stop. Lay down the tool for a breath, for a minute, for 3. Return to the closet within. Whisper, I and the Father are one. John 10:30. God works in the infinite nowness. Ask without bargaining, what is mine to do now? Perhaps the answer is, cut the first paragraph. Perhaps it is, restore the simple line you erased an hour ago. Perhaps it is, close the file and take a walk at 2. Perhaps it is silence that confirms your last move is already right. Move again only when the lamp relights the foot. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, Psalm 119-105. Not a floodlight to dazzle the room, a lamp to guide the next stroke. When you return to the tool, let the idea use your skills. Editing becomes a cloth for the window so more light enters, not a curtain to showcase the cloth. Structure becomes a trellis for the vine, not a cage to display geometry. Revision becomes repentance in its happiest form, a turning back to clarity. Ask simple servant questions. Does this sentence serve the idea, or does it admire itself? Does this cut reveal more life or more fear of being misunderstood? Does this color carry the feeling, or does it shout to be seen? If a choice increases transparency, keep it. If it increases vanity or anxiety, reconsider it. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Isaiah 30-15. Confidence here is consent to the idea's leadership. Do not fear that this deposes excellence. Properly placed craft flowers more, not less. The musician who yields to the phrase plays with cleaner articulation. The filmmaker who serves the scene lights with truer restraint. The writer who serves the line chooses the one plain word that opens the heart. When the branch abides, Jude appears without grind. Before Abraham was, I am John 8:58. We do not pull inspiration out of tomorrow. We reveal what is given now and let skill make it clear. And now a warning, that becomes the liberation. The subtlest way skills replace the idea is when we let external conditions claim authority over the life of the work. Markets, algorithms, and opinions begin to stand where only God belongs. Presently, we will take their crowns away kindly and firmly for now. Remember the refrain that keeps all tools in their place. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Use the world wisely, but grant it no power. God is yes. Beloved, let us now take the crowns off the heads of our age's little kings. Algorithms, markets, and opinions may be useful servants. They are not authorities. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, Exodus 20:3. The infinite recognizes God as the only power. Therefore, platforms cannot create your supply, nor can trends confer your relevance, nor can critics withhold your worth. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, James 1:17. Before the feed was, I am John 8:58. The life of an idea does not originate in dashboards. It is breathed of spirit and expressed through you as you consent. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Now you will be tempted hourly to forget this. A number dips and the ribs tighten. A comment stings and the shoulders rise. The mind whispers, we are losing ground. We must appease the gods of reach. Answer with your identity and your law. I and the Father are one. John 10:30. God works in the infinite nowness. Consciously reject every suggestion of power in person or thing or condition, especially in metrics that seek to hijack your peace. Reject the suggestion that an algorithm can bless or curse you. Reject the suggestion that a market can open or close heaven. Reject the suggestion that a critic can confer or revoke your name. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Nor things present, nor things to come shall be able to separate us from the love of God. Romans 8:35-39. Neither a spike nor a trough can separate the idea from its source or the avenue from its sufficiency. We are not naive. We will study analytics as we study weather, so we may carry an umbrella, not so we may deny the sun. We will observe patterns to serve our neighbors better, times of day, formats that clarify, words that land, but we will not bow. We will remain under the inner government. Render, therefore, unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's. Matthew 22:21. Scheduling is Caesar's. Sovereignty is God's. Strategy is Caesar's. Supply is God's. We will use the world wisely, but never grant it creative authority over our life or our work. Here is a simple pivot when discouragement knocks. Look at the number and say within, this is a report, not a reality. The reality is the idea unfolding as I consent. Numbers report appearance. They do not define essence. You have never seen your full audience. You have seen a concept of your reach measured by a platform's frame. The living reach of an inspired work moves in ways no graph can track through land and sea and air, through whispers and forwards and quiet transformations. The wind bloweth where it listeth. Thou hearest the sound thereof, but canst not tell whence it cometh. John 3-8. So it is with Spirit's distribution. Make this practical. Set appointed times to review analytics, once midweek, once at week's end. Refuse the friction of constant checking. Disable the buzzers that make Caesar your prayer bell. When you do review, enter your closet for 1 minute first. Whisper, thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory. Then read the numbers as a steward, not as a supplicant. Ask, what in this report helps me serve more clearly? Ask, what in me seeks to bargain for worth? Keep what serves, discard what demands worship. Close the page, return to the work. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Matthew 6:33. Added, not chased. As you walk through the day, practice this continuous hygiene. Reject every suggestion of external power. Affirm the inner government. Move on the next true step. If a comment throws a hook, breathe and say, no other powers. If a chart flatlines, breathe and say, the vine has not withered. If a post ascends and applause swells, breathe and say, glory returns to the giver. In this way, we are liberated from the mood swings of validation. With the idols kindly dethroned, the instrument stays tuned. We can work steadily now, quiet, faithful, free, because the source is the same in silence and in noise. God is. Thine is the kingdom. Yes, beloved, let us name the weariness that has crept into the ribs and called itself normal. Burnout is not merely fatigue of body. It is the tiredness of thought, the personal sense attempting to sustain a universe. It is the mind posing as source, calculating, comparing, controlling, insisting that life must be manufactured, audiences engineered, outcomes guaranteed. That is why the bones feel older than the calendar and the breath forgets its depth. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. Rest here is not collapse. It is correction. It is the quiet removal of a crown that never fit. Let us be gentle and exact. We have all tried to be our own provider, our own muse, our own guarantee. We have all sat late under the blue glow, bargaining with time, flogging the draft, appeasing the dashboard, telling ourselves that if we just think harder, hustle faster, plan more cleverly, the river will flow. And we have found that it is too much. How could it be otherwise? I am not making the stars come out, nor the moon to rise, nor the sun to set. I am perfectly content to let God run the universe. When the little self refuses that contentment, it tries to run a universe of its own, making your career as cosmos, your calendar as creation, your reputation as orbit, and the weight crushes joy. Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Zechariah 4-6. Might and power exhaust, spirit expresses, and so we reframe rest. Rest is not the body falling through the door after the siren of panic. Rest is the return to the inner well, where inspiration is not demanded but received. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul, Psalm 23-2-3. Restoreth he, not I. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. Isaiah 40-31. Waiting here is not idleness. It is alignment. It is the mind surrendering its impersonation of Creator and consenting to be an instrument. God works in the infinite nowness. Before Abraham was, I am John 8:58. The idea you sought tomorrow is present now when you are present. Here is a brief inner treatment for the hour when the shoulders rise and the hope sinks. Say softly, 2 or 3 times, not as magic words, but as truthful placement of the heart. Father, I cannot do thy work. Thy work is done. I am available. Say it again. Father, I cannot do thy work. Thy work is done. I am available. Then be still a minute to let the burden slide where it belongs. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. Psalm 55-22. Whisper, I and the Father are one. John 10:30. Not two. Not separated creator and desperate creature. One life expressing, one mind revealing, one work already complete, seeking consent, not coercion. Notice what this treatment accomplishes. Not a sudden holiday, but a shift of authorship. The yoke that has been chafing becomes his, and my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Matthew 11:30. The task remains, but the toil is gone. The step remains, but the strain releases. You are no longer trying to power the lamp with your own muscles. You are allowing the current to flow. In him we live and move and have our being. Acts 17:28. Burnout eases when you stop living as the source and begin living as the avenue. To stabilize this healing, we must adopt a rhythm, not the old pattern of sprint and crash, not occasional emergencies of prayer when the engine seizes, but frequent small returns, 3 minutes before the work, 5 at noon, 8 to 10 in the late afternoon, perhaps 3 times a day for a beginner. Later on, 810-1220, gentle pauses that keep the instrument tuned. Many small nows, not one heroic rescue. The world will still wave its clocks and cry, hurry, smile, and enter your closet for a minute. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Receive the next true step, give it form, release the result. This is how strength renews without drama. This is how the lamp stays lit while you walk. God is yes. Beloved, let us make this a way of life, not a rush of inspiration followed by relapse. Consistency and small returns too now restores the instrument more than occasional heroic efforts. Not the fireworks of a rare breakthrough, but the steady lamp of daily bread. Give us this day our daily bread. Matthew 6:11. Bread for this day, light for this step, strength for this breath. God works in the infinite nowness. Before Abraham was, I am John 8:58. Our practice must match our revelation. For a beginner, let the cadence be simple and keepable. 3 withdrawals a day. Morning before the day makes its claim. Midday when the tide is pulling. Evening when the mind would replay and rehearse. Each withdrawal may be 2 to 5 minutes. Close the door. Breathe once as one who is not running the universe. And whisper, I and the Father are one. John 10:30. Ask, what is mine to do now? Receive, name, keep. That is all. Do not seek ecstasies. Seek presence. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Isaiah 30-15. As you grow accustomed to this air, Scatter brief pauses like dew across your labor. 810. Little withdrawals a day. Some only 20 seconds, some a minute or two. Stop at the threshold of a meeting, at the start of an edit, before you press send. Enter your closet within. No drama, no performance. Whisper, thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Ask, am I forcing or receiving? If forcing, step back one breath further. Lay down the lever. Let the lamp relight your foot. If receiving, proceed with the ease that belongs to obedience. Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Zechariah 4-6. Keep a double portion day once each week. Choose a Sabbath for the instrument, perhaps Sunday, perhaps the quietest of your days. On that day, widen the intervals. A longer listening in the morning, another in the late afternoon, a third before night. Fewer inputs. Reduce the constant emotional feed. Let the devices rest. Refuse the scroll that agitates and divides. Walk in the open air. Sit with the Psalms. Read Romans 8:35-39 until assurance rises like a tide. Let John 15 braid itself through your ribs. I am the vine, ye are the branches. Without me ye can do nothing. Listen to an inspired teaching that lifts, not inflames. Poetry that clarifies, not flatters the nerves. Food that elevates, not excites. This day restores sensitivity, rinses the lens, oils the hinges of hearing. Curate your inputs every day, but especially on the double portion. You are the steward of your attention. You do not graze in every field. Choose scripture as a tuning fork. Choose a poem that rings true. Choose a page or recording that turns you Godward without sentimentality. Avoid the clamor that masquerades as urgency. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46-10 is not a suggestion for leisure. It is law for life. The hand that holds the pen must not tremble from headlines. The heart that chooses color must not pale before trends. We feed the inner man on substance, not sugar. Now, a simple checkpoint before each working session. Write it on a card if you must. Am I forcing or receiving? Let that question be the guard at your studio door. If you discover forcing hurry in the ribs, bargaining with outcomes, the mind leaning hard on itself, stop a minute. Close the file. Hands open on the desk. Whisper, Father, I cannot do thy work. Thy work is done. I am available. Wait for the gentle yes of the next true step. If you discover receiving quiet authority, simplicity, the small, clear action, move gratefully. Obedience before explanation. Faithfulness before flourish. We have gathered the rhythm, many small nows, a weekly deepening, curated food, a checkpoint for peace. In a moment, we will compress this into a 4-minute rite you can practice tomorrow and the day after. Enter, consent, listen, move so that every session begins under the right government. For now, remember the refrain that holds the whole rule of life. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Not someday, now. God is. Yes. Beloved, let us make this plain and keepable. 4 minutes to place the heart under the right government. 4 minutes to retrain the mind from factory to instrument, not mumbled while walking, not stolen from a red light. A chosen interval, brief and whole. Enter into thy closet, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Matthew 6-6. Secret first, open afterward. Spirit first, form afterward. God works in the infinite nowness. Before Abraham was, I am John, 8:58. Minute 1, enter, sit. Breathe as one who is not running the universe. Close the door, or if you cannot, close the door within. One physical signal that your allegiance has shifted. Hands open on the desk, palms up, or dim the screen, or place the phone face down and out of reach. Let your shoulders drop as a liturgy. Simplify the posture, simplify the gaze, whisper without hurry. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Let this minute be a small Jordan. You step into no arguments, no fixing, just entrance. Not performing for God, not performing for yourself. Enter. Minute 2, consent. Yield the scepter you never owned. Say quietly, thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Matthew 6:13. Say, Father, I cannot do thy work. Thy work is done. I am available. Say, I and the Father are one in purpose, John. 10:30, not by might nor by power, but by thy Spirit, Zechariah 4-6. Say it once as statement, once as surrender, once as joy. Feel the crown sliding off the personal sense and returning to the rightful head. Consent is not defeat. It is agreement with reality. In this consent, the burden transfers, the yoke lightens, and the instrument becomes playable again. Minute 3, listen. Ask one crisp question and refuse to bargain. What is mine to do now? Not the mountain, the step. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet. Psalm 119-105. A lamp, not a searchlight. Wait without holding your breath. Let silence do a little work on you. Do not chase a mood. Accept the plainness of truth. If a simple next action rises, outline the paragraph. Record one honest take. Email the one person. Cut the first sentence. Walk once around the block. Recognize it by its unforced rightness, its small weight of peace. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength, Isaiah 30-15. Confidence, not as swagger, but as consent to the given. Minute 4, move. Seal reception with obedience. At once, before cleverness can interfere, take one embodied step. Title the file and write the first true line. Press record and speak the clear minute. Address and send the faithful email. Sketch the frame. Set the meeting. Delete the excess. Whatsoever he saith unto you, do it, John 2-5. Let the doing be modest and exact. Do not heap tomorrow upon today. Give us this day our daily bread. Matthew 6:11. Bread for this step, not 10 baskets to prove abundance. If the action is 2 minutes long, give it 2 minutes. If it is 5, give it 5 with a whole heart. Obedience before explanation. Faithfulness before flourish. Faith without works is dead, James 2:26. Reception without motion evaporates into sentiment. This is the right. Enter. Consent. Listen. Move. 4 minutes that re-enthrone the source and restore the servant. Practice it at the threshold of every session before you open the canvas, before you step into the meeting, before you touch the code, before you thread the brush. If interrupted, begin again briefly. If hurried, defend it kindly. A short, faithful ritual practice daily turns creativity from pressure into partnership. You are no longer chasing ideas across calendars. You are witnessing ideas arriving in the infinite now, and taking their first natural breath through you. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Matthew 6:33. Added, not extracted. Arriving, not pursued. And as you walk in this, you will find the day quietly governed from within, the lamp at your feet, the bread in your hand, the peace in your ribs. Thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory. God is. Yes, beloved, let the heart rest in what has been shown. We came weary from the factory mind, cogs grinding for cleverness, calendars shouting edicts, and we discovered the one quiet correction. The mind was never meant to manufacture life. It was meant to receive it. We passed from the tyranny of the deadline to the liberty of the infinite now, from appeasing algorithms and markets and opinions to consenting to the inner government. We learned again to say with simplicity, I am not making the stars come out, nor the moon to rise, nor the sun to set. I am perfectly content to let God run the universe. In him we live and move and have our being. Acts 17:28. Before Abraham was, I am John 8:58. God works in the infinite nowness, and so we end where all true work begins. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Matthew 6:13. Kingdom idea present, not postponed. Power, grace active, not begged. Glory, light already shining, not engineered. Hear it as assurance, not request. We do not plead for harmony because harmony already is. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He restoreth my soul. Psalm 23:1-3. Restoration is not our exertion. It is our consent, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Zechariah 4-6. Spirit is the reality. Effort is only the instrument when it is sanctified by listening. Now I invite you into the gentle experiment. Before the next block of labor, before you open the file, step into the room, lift the brush, keep the 4-minute right. Enter, consent, listen, move. Enter the closet within Matthew 6-6. Consent to the rightful government. Thine is the kingdom. Listen for the one small next step. A sentence to write, a call to make, a cut to restore, a walk to take. Move at once upon the given. Then notice, not with suspicion, but with gratitude, the change in the tone of your labor, the clarity of your choices, the steadiness of your ribs. Prove me now herewith, if I will not open you the windows of heaven. Malachi 3:10. Leave the fireworks to Caesar. Look for the lamp at your feet. Psalm 119-105. Remember the order that frees. Peace first, fruit afterward. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Matthew 6:33. Added after, not before, as effect, not as cause. The exterior will take its rightful shape as the interior abides in its rightful source. Craft will bloom without tyranny. Schedules will serve without rule. Feedback will inform without defining. Neither height nor depth, nor things present, nor things to come, nor any creature including platforms and charts shall be able to separate you from the love of God. Romans 8:38-39. I and the Father are one. John 10:30. Therefore, sufficiency is one, guidance is one, supply is one. Take this as your benediction for the working day. Be still long enough to hear, then be faithful enough to act. Do not attempt to create the light. You could not if you tried. Receive it. Consent to it. Walk in it. If the room seems dim, do not curse the lamp. Turn your face and let it strike you. If the day grows noisy, do not shout it down. Enter once more and let the silence speak. If a result delays, refuse the old panic. Hold to the order kingdom. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Luke 12:32. Given, not negotiated. Present, not postponed. Now we go in quiet courage. The hand becomes simple. The eye becomes single. The ear becomes faithful. As you cross the threshold into your task, carry this inward refrain. Thine is the kingdom. Thine is the power. Thine is the glory. Not someday now. Not elsewhere here. God is, yes,